Are you like me and so many other people on planet Earth, where you just feel like there's just got to be something more from life, something more from me, something more for me. But like me and so many people on Earth, you never go after it. Like me and so many people on Earth, you never even start. Because like me and so many other people, you run into the trap that is the biggest life and dream killer of all. And that's excuses. And even reasons, even maybe legitimate reasons, but not reasons that are worth preventing you from having this be your turn in life, your turn to have the life you want, need, and deserve. Well, I've got a cure for you. It's a cure I've tried, no side effects. And I've learned it from so many other people who overcame not just excuses, which I'll define for you, but even huge reasons why they couldn't succeed, but they did anyway. And it's worth it. Because it's your turn in life always. You need to take advantage of it. Listen to this, and you'll be able to. Stay tuned.
Helping you find your new way forward to the best years of your life. This is a New Way Forward podcast with Paul Long.
Now, there are excuses that, they're legitimate in the fact that they exist and almost everybody goes through them. They're just maybe not legitimate as reason to not do it. And the most typical ones are when you're looking to go after something big, such as life change or anything else. It's like, this is scary. I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure what's going to happen. The fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of looking silly. Hey, I get it. But are you really going to let those things paralyze you? Are you going to realize the fact that anytime you've done anything in your life or anyone else has done in their life to succeed at, all of those things existed. It's wired into our brains. It used to be a defense mechanism back in the cave dwelling days where you didn't want change. You wanted to get things stable and familiar. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that unless you're not feeling like you're living the life that you want to live. So accepting the fact that there's going to be fear, there's going to be doubt. Hey, here's my thing. And it usually happens when I'm brushing my teeth at night. Not every night, but every now and then, maybe once a month. I'm brushing my teeth and all of a sudden I'm like, Paul, you are just screwing this up. You are stupid. You're not getting it done right. You're going to be an absolute failure. You're just a wasted pile of human protoplasm. And by that time, I'm turning down the covers in the bed. And here's what I do. Here's what happens naturally. I go, there it is. There it is. Because in all my years of studying this and moving toward, waving at a neighbor, of moving toward my new way forward, I learned time and time again from successful people in business, in the arts, and just in life, that they went through the same thing, that they had the same doubts and fears and problems with themselves. And so I just go, oh, there it is. I read, get up in the morning, and I get back to it. But a reason is something that is valid. As I'll share with you in just a moment, though, sometimes people have very good reasons to not go after something or change their life, but they did it anyway, and they succeeded. And sometimes it was that challenge or reason or handicap that drove them to do it. But there have been so many people through history, billions of people we've never heard of, but took on this change, this going after the life that they wanted and needed, and did so in ways that we just didn't find out about. But there are also some very famous people. I mean, I've got kind of a little short list here. This is just a short list. So first of all, let's look at Helen Keller, who was blind, deaf, and mute. And yet she overcame that and became a great social leader in the early 20th century. Or Stephen Hawking, one of the most brilliant scientific minds of our day, who had ALS. and had to talk through a computer and was severely handicapped. Beethoven wrote some of his best work while he was deaf. Rosa Parks, who was a domestic worker and a hospital worker, and an African-American woman in the Deep South during segregation who became a civil rights icon and leader. Or Oprah Winfrey, who was raped and impregnated at age 14 and became who she is. Franklin Roosevelt, who had polio and was wheelchair bound and was one of the greatest American presidents in our history, one of the greatest leaders in history. Frederick Douglass, who was born into slavery and yet became a leader of the abolitionist movement. Abraham Lincoln was born dirt poor. I mean, his first home literally had a dirt floor, and yet he became a great president. Nelson Mandela, who was black and was imprisoned for 27 years, not only became the leader of South Africa and helped bring down apartheid, but became a world leader. Joan of Arc was 14 years old when she led the French army to victory. And then you've got people who are dyslexic, which cuts both ways. Yes, it's difficulty in reading and things of that sort, but it's also like a different wiring of the brain that allows people to see things differently. So you've got people like Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein, Richard Branson, Leonardo da Vinci, Agatha Christie, Isaac Newton, Thomas Edison, Tom Cruise. I mean, an endless list. These people are maybe those that you wouldn't bet money on because they had very good reasons to not live fulfilling lives or to go for one of their aspirations. But they did it anyway. They overcame their fear. They overcame their restrictions. So the point of this and excuses is that, well, on the one hand, you could say you better have a pretty damn good reason to not go after the life you want or what you're aspiring to. But even if you've got a damn good reason, that still may not be good enough. And that's a good thing. All right, let's get to a really big one, and that's false beliefs. And generally speaking, the imposter syndrome, which so many of us, including myself, suffer from. But one thing that really helped me a lot is to know that in the first place, a lot of people have that, including successful people. In fact, in some cases, it's that imposter syndrome or the I'm not good enough that actually drives people to success. But know this, I'm going to kind of open up a door for you to reflect on here. And that is that many of the most fundamental beliefs that we have about ourselves and life come from our childhood. And very often they come from our parents. It can be other things or other instances or other people and even other times in life, but commonly and by example, it's in our childhood. And it could be the way our parents were or the way they treated us. Now, understand this, that when we're children, the way we're wired is that we are absorbing and learning everything about life, and we're kind of regarding it as being absolute and empirical, when in this case it isn't necessarily. So kind of the standard imposter syndrome thing is like, a parent who says, you're worthless, or you're never going to amount to anything, or you're ugly, or you're dumb, or, something like that. And we hold that belief for the rest of our lives. Even though it wasn't us, it was them. It was their problem. You're not dumb. You're fully capable of achieving things. You're a wonderful person. Or, I'm not good enough. You're struggling in math in 5th grade and you come home and it's like, hey, Mom, I got a B+ on my math. Well, if you'd studied harder, you could have made an A+. Well, for a kid, that's devastating. It's like, I thought I was doing better. I'm not good enough. But here's the point. When we get older and to aspire and achieve the life that we want, to be one of those who did, is understanding that if it's a belief, that's foundational to our reactions and our way of living. So if it's a false belief, you're living a false life. Here's what I mean, and I give credit to David Baer, who in the Tom Bilyeu Impact Theory podcast laid it out this way, and I thought it was brilliant. Inherently, we believe a belief to be true, and it's like a formula. Your beliefs drive your emotions, and your emotions drive your decisions, and your decisions drive an action, and that equals your life. Well, what if it's a false belief? A false belief drives a false emotion, a false decision, a false action, and it validates the false belief. Yeah, see, I'm not good enough. Yeah, see, I can't hold on to money. Yeah, see, I can't, find the person I love, because you got this false belief about it. So when you identify those false beliefs, that again, very often came from childhood, you realize something that's standing in your way, that in the first place, you are good enough. You're more than good enough. We're all more than good enough. As long as we allow ourselves to be it, as long as we identify not only those things that we don't believe are true about us, or we're going to make them not true, but then we say, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead. I'm going to go after being the person and having the life that I really want. I'm going to form a new belief. I'm not going to have this self-limiting belief. I'm going to have a growth mindset and go after what I want. So here's another one that's kind of a combination excuse and maybe a reason in a way, but that is, it's too late. It's too late for me, or I'm too old, or you can't teach an old dog new tricks. By the way, you can teach old dogs new tricks. That's just ageist BS. It's never too late for you. So for my cohorts, first of all, I'll say, look at me. I figured all this out. I'm doing all of this stuff and everything despite my age. I'm defying my age because I don't give a damn about my age. I give a damn about my life and what I want to go after. But I'm also taking advantage of the new reality of longevity, the longevity revolution in which people my age, younger and older, have been redefining what it means to be in their olderhood, that are taking advantage of this, the fact that if I take moderately good care of myself, if I live with purpose and passion and relevance and fulfillment and meaning and community and take relatively good care of myself, I can live healthy, active, and doing what I want to do into my 90s. So you talk about retiring at 62 when I'm all done, when you've got maybe 30 years of life left. By the way, 30 years ago, you were 32 years old. Come on. And so this has become the mega trend of people designing a life that they want, taking advantage of this time, getting past the excuses and the rationales, and having some of the best years of their lives. And two, let me just give you one little tidbit that is just so indicative of this. So a few years ago, the Kauffman Foundation did a survey of entrepreneurialism in the United States, and they found that baby boomers were starting twice the number of businesses as millennials, twice the number, and a higher rate of success, which only makes sense. Some of them doing it out of necessity. I can't afford this extended life and health span. But also even then, finding a way to earn a living that fit with the lifestyle that they wanted and was fulfilling and was something that they were passionate about and gave them purpose and everything else. And then if you really think about it, the older you get, the more you know. The more you know about yourself, the more you know about life, the more you know about the world, the better equipped you are to figure out what the hell it is that you want. And it's embracing the new life map. Stanford University Longevity Center brought in hundreds of experts. And yes, just identified the fact that this older phase of life, what I call olderhood, is indeed a new phase of life that's never existed before. So the question is what are you going to do with it? Because I characterize it as the old life map was in our youth, we learn. In adulthood, we're adults. We maybe have a family, we pursue a career, we earn money and things of that sort. Then we retire and then decline and die. The new life map, as I characterize it, is in our youth, we learn. In our adulthood, it's almost like an apprenticeship on steroids. And then when we get older, whatever that is, 38, 48, 58, 68, 78, whatever, we go pro on life. It's really the time of life, because also you got situations like mine where, my boys are grown up and living their own life, even though we were still very close, where it was really the opportunity for me to define what I wanted in life. So it's never too late, and what you think might be too late may indeed be the perfect time. Now I'm going to give you a couple of methods, and they're really mindsets, if you will, that will really help you get past this. Now, the first one is a bit, shall I use the word, tough, but it's worth it. And for me, it's the power of regret, meaning I'm avoiding regret. So here's what I mean. When I started out trying to figure out my new way forward, and I was deterred, I was getting frustrated, I was getting overwhelmed by it, all of that, the reasons, the excuse why a lot of people quit. And I thought to myself, man, you're really going to regret it if you don't do this. And then I thought, I wonder what the biggest regret is of people on their deathbeds in life. Well, what blew my mind was that I noticed there were numerous surveys, a couple of very famous ones, of surveys asking people who knew that they were about to die what their biggest regrets were. And what was mind-blowing was that in every survey, number one, I never lived the life that was right for me. I never went for it. And even some of the secondary ones, I worked too much, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, could be wrapped up in not designing the life that you really wanted and was right for you. My point is that I've used that fear of regret. I mean, I actually envisioned myself in a hospital room with a bunch of tubes in me, and I know I've got just a day or two to live. And what would it feel like to say, I blew it, I didn't live the life that was right for me? Yeah, that is not a pleasant feeling, but I'm glad I did it, because that fear, like fear often does, drove me and continues to drive me to live the life that's right for me. Okay, here's the second one. And this really helped me. It's a great framework, and that is called Choose Your Hard. So it goes like this. If you're not in good health, if you're out of shape, if you're overweight, it's hard to get in good shape and get healthy again. If you're in financial trouble and having all sorts of difficulties, it's hard to get out of financial trouble. And if you want to change your life, make it better, one little thing or a big thing or the whole thing, it's hard to change your life. Then again, to not do anything about your health and to continue suffering is hard. To not do anything about your finances and be in financial trouble is hard. And to not change your life into something better and right for you is hard. And in each case, you're also going to hate yourself for not doing anything about it. So if both of them are hard, it's going to be hard no matter what you do, then choose the hard that's going to give you a return on your investment. Choose your hard. Besides realizing that we all have excuses and reasons, I really do keep in mind that there are a hell of a lot of people out there that have better excuses and better reasons than I do to not go for it. And they did. My silly little quote, those that did, those that didn't. Duh, however, it does make a point. Those people who ignored their excuses and burst through or worked around or even leveraged their reasons, because we've got one pass at this life. One pass at this life. Each one of us beat the odds 400 trillion to 1 that you exist. It's a miracle. It's something to take advantage of. Don't let some stupid excuses or even some legitimate reasons stand between you and having the life you want and you deserve and you're entitled to, because it's your turn right now to discover the new way forward that's right for you and live and have the more that you need and want.
Learn more ways to enhance your life and discover a new way forward that's perfect for you by watching these videos or any others on my channel. Oh, and be sure to subscribe.